Hello there, today I'm going to talk about Thor the Dark World. This is a sequel to the original Thor and it came after the Avengers, one of those films that came between Avengers and Avengers 2, which was Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World and Captain America Winter Soldier, as well as Guardians of the Galaxy. This one was this one's kind of viewed as the weakest of the bunch. I mean, it's basically because Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy were viewed as these great achievements that they just delivered. And Iron Man 3, though it was a bit controversial with some people, is still a very good film. It's a very solid film. Basically, people who don't like it are the ones who don't like the twist halfway through. So you see, you've got these three strong films all around it, and this one was the troubled production. They lost one director before they started filming, another guy took over, Alan Taylor. He was a very good director. And after the film was done, they did a lot of reshoots to add some humour to it because the feeling was generally it was too dark. And you can sense that through the film as like things were added, things were changed. The tone's a bit weird, it shifts a lot, and you're feeling they were asked, I think they asked Alan to do one film and then they wanted something different from it. It's strange, Alan Taylor's a very good director, he's done a lot of TV work. He did a really good film earlier in his career called Palookaville. He's one of those directors who have done an amazing amount of great TV stuff. Pretty much any good TV show he probably directed some of the best episodes of, because he's one of those directors who's always been good. In the movies so far, he's had Thor the Dark World and Terminator Genesis, where he hasn't been served with the best material. And I don't think he's been given the material that suits his talents as well as he could. He's always done a professional job with them, but you kind of get the feel when he's not been given the stuff that really sets his imagination on fire. So he does his best, does a good job, does a professional job, but these aren't like his passion projects. But I think Thor the Dark World is the strong of the films, because I think it's a very underrated film. I mean, it's got the Thor has a good dynamic where he's trying to live up to what his father expects of him, to be the king, to be the guy in charge of the Empire and try and turn around the damage that Loki did in the last movie and try and save these people. There's a lot of angst on him, which is it causes some problems. So it's well done, but it's not as fun as the Thor and other movies, and you kind of get the feeling that was one of the things they realised they went too far with for the original cut. I think it was just the character was just too like strained to be serious, and the whole movie has this kind of darker tone to it, which I like actually. I mean, it's nice because this feeling is the people who've just survived a bad war, survived some hard times, they're just getting back on their feet, but then another threat comes in, they have to deal with that. That's all good. It just feels like the script of this film wasn't locked down as well as it should have been before they started filming, and that caused a lot of problems because people were trying to work out what the film should be. Like the villain, Malkeith, who's a dark elf, they've got a very good actor, Christopher Eccleston, playing him. He does a good job, you know. The film doesn't really come through as well as it should because they don't really give him things to do that would make him especially villainous. He just turns up every so often and does horrible things. He kills Thor's mother. And his motivations are all clear, but they don't give him the details you need for the villain to really come through. He needs a few more scenes and some imagination to really make the character come across. It's one of those cases. It's not the actor's fault the character doesn't work as well as it should. It's because it hasn't been written properly, and you kind of a villain just show up every so often and do vague acts and expect to be scary because the actual drama is not supporting them, and that becomes a big problem in the film as the villain doesn't have the drama around him to actually help him be a strong villain. You've also got Loki in it, coming in and out for a while before it finally has some stuff to do. And that's kind of disappointing because those are the best scenes in the film. Whenever Loki's on stage, the film is great. Whenever him and Thor have a chance to talk, unbeatable. Just made those two the main focus of the film, and it worked a lot better because that was the dynamic that really worked. What doesn't work as well is the fact that it's just all around it. You see the damage of a script that isn't right quite there yet. It's like they've got it like 70% in there, but they haven't done the rest yet, and it just feels like had to add scenes to explain stuff, but those scenes feel like they've been added. They don't feel organic to the story. So it's not a case of the director messed up or anyone messed up. The script wasn't there. It was a producer mess up because the producer should have had a script, and the director should have insisted on a script in there as well. Actually, that was dynamic, because this script just starts and stops all the time. It starts, and there's lots of good stuff in it. It's the problem is, it's not like there's always entertaining things going on in the film, but you feel there's a lack of dynamic for momentum. You feel that things haven't worked out that should have been, that would have just helped deliver a film that would have made people enjoy it a lot more. I mean, something like Iron Man 3, which had a script that had some plot holes, still had a lot of forward momentum and a lot of goodwill, because they knew where the plot holes were and they actually got around them really well, so it didn't matter, ultimately. Whatever was a bit silly didn't matter because the film still had momentum. And even Guardians of the Galaxy had some little bits and bobs that was like, that could have done better. But still, because it had momentum and goodwill, you didn't care. This one, because it's darker and there's less jokes, and I'm going for a darker tone, because these script plots are still in place, it feels like it's not quite delivering what it should. And that's a problem, because it just didn't have the goodwill towards it that would have helped get through that. But there's still lots of lovely stuff. I mean, the whole sequence when Thor's mother was killed by Malekith, and then the reactions of him, the father, and Loki, and then the funeral was gorgeous. That's really well done. Very mythical. The whole world is set up to be a lot more realistic than the first one. First one was more of a magical world. This one's much more realistic to the people live in this world and they have to survive in this world. It's done terrifically. The warriors, 3 that are Thor's pals, come across a bit more in this one. They seem to have less to do, but they come across a bit more, because they've asked to do things that are more interesting. You feel you're more invested with it from this time. Loki has a lot more anger to him because his mother's been killed. It really works. Thor's grief, as soon as things happen and Thor's pulled out of just being a bit glum, he's great. As soon as you give him something to do, like when he goes back to Earth and finds Jane, who's Natalie Portman, it works. I thought the romance worked. A lot of people don't like the romance in this film. I thought it worked fine. I mean, it was a romance between 2 grown-ups. It's not like a romance between kids, so it's a bit more low-key. That's what I quite liked about it, but it wasn't a huge success for everybody, but I thought it worked fine. And having them go through the kingdoms, try to work out how to defeat Malekith, and having to try and go against Odin, because Odin wanted to do it one way, Thor thinks he's wrong, has to do it a different way. And Thor pretty much commits treason to try and save his people. All that stuff works well. All that's great. Again, it just needed the script work earlier on to set stuff up a bit more. It just feels everything's a bit vague. It hasn't been tightened down as well as it should. And the film just doesn't feel as strong as it should. It just feels like it needed that extra month or 2 before they started filming just to lock it all down. And that's just the problem with the film. The film just has to deal with that problem. It's a thing. It was scuppered before it was even started because they hadn't worked that out. But it's still a very strong film. I mean, the mood's so interesting that, and a lot of the little details with Loki and Thor are so good that it makes up for the mistakes. And the end sequence when they're having through all these little portals, they're fighting through portals and gravity's getting messed around and stuff like that. As they fight and all these planets are lining, so you've got planes flying into these alien worlds and stuff. All that's great fun. It just feels very inventive. It feels like they've had a lot of fun with that. There's lots of stuff that just happens that are terrific. I mean, it's one of those films where you list all the terrific stuff, it's like, this must have been an amazing film. And it's just a good film because things haven't worked out between those scenes as well as it could have been. But it's still really enjoyable. I mean, I could happily watch this film. I like it in a way more than the first Thor because I think it's more interesting, even though it's a lot more flawed. It's a more flawed film, but the things that work are more interesting than the things that worked in the first film. So, in the things that work just are more more defined in a way. The things that really work are much clearer. So that's the case of they had a good director who, when things were working in the script, he could really deliver. It's just when things weren't, he just did his best to kind of fit them in as best he could. But it's still a strong film. It's still definitely worth seeing, and I very much enjoyed it. So Thor: Dark World still gets a thumbs up for me, even though it's one of the more flawed Marvel movies. But that doesn't make it bad. Okay, bye. I hope you enjoyed this.